Stephen Hawking, the Grandmaster of Physics with a disabled body. Welcome to the Global Top Successful channel. In today's video, we will learn about Stephen Hawking, one of the greatest physicists in history with many prestigious academic titles and honors, such as Doctorate, Lucasian Professor, and Fellow of the Royal Society of London. His career not only brought important contributions to the fields of physics and astronomy but also affirmed the role of those who transcend all limits and become role models for future generations. All of his works are regarded as the key to unlock the door to the universe. However, what is particularly remarkable about him is that he achieved these impressive accomplishments with a body afflicted by ALS and had to use a wheelchair to move around. The boy is a poor student.
Stephen Hawking was born on January 8, 1942, on the 300th anniversary of the death of Italian physicist, astronomer and mathematician Galileo. He was the eldest child in a family of 4 brothers and sisters. His parents, Frank and Isabel Eileen Hawking, are both Oxford University alumni. In 1950, when Hawking's father became head of the Division of Parasitology at the National Institute for Medical Research, the family moved to St Albans, Hertfordshire. In St Albans, the family was considered highly intelligent and somewhat eccentric. Meals were often spent with each person silently reading a book. They lived a frugal existence in a large, cluttered, and poorly maintained house and travelled in a converted London taxicab. Hawking began his schooling at the Byron House School in Highgate, London. He later blamed its progressive methods for his failure to learn to read while at the school. In St Albans, the 8-year-old Hawking attended St Albans High School for girls for a few months. At that time, younger boys could attend high school for girls. Although known at school as Einstein, Hawking was not initially successful academically. With time, he began to show considerable aptitude for scientific subjects and, inspired by Tata teacher, decided to read mathematics at university. Mr. Frank wants to orientate his eldest son to the path of medicine. But from a young age, Stephen showed a strong passion for science and the universe. Stephen was interested in how all tools work. Hawking often tinkered with radios and watches to study small parts. Interestingly, he admits he's not very good at returning them to their original state.
Process of studying at university and obtaining a doctoral degree.
Hawking began his university education at University College, Oxford, in October 1959 at the age of 17. For the first 18 months, he was bored and lonely. He found the academic work ridiculously easy. His physics tutor, Robert Berman, later said, it was only necessary for him to know that something could be done, and he could do it without looking to see how other people did it. Hawking estimated that he studied about 1,000 hours during his 3 years at Oxford, 1 hour per day on average. These unimpressive study habits made sitting his finals a challenge, and he decided to answer only theoretical physics questions rather than those requiring factual knowledge. However, he still obtained a first-class BA degree in physics from Oxford. Hawking received a research fellowship at Gonville and Caius College at Cambridge. He obtained his PhD degree in applied mathematics and theoretical physics, specializing in general relativity and cosmology, in March 1966, and his essay, Singularities and the Geometry of Spacetime, shared top honors with one by Penrose to win that year's prestigious Adams Prize.
Knowing that I had only a few years to live when I was 21.
At the age of 21, Hawking began to experience some symptoms such as tripping and difficulty moving. The family realized it when he came home for Christmas. Then he was taken to the doctor. While waiting for the results, he met his future wife, Jane Wilde. The girl was immediately attracted to the boy's independence and humor. They started dating. At the age of 21, Hawking received the results that he had motor neurone disease. He was diagnosed with only 2 more years to live and would not be able to complete his doctoral thesis. This is a huge shock for a guy as enthusiastic and ambitious as Hawking. He was depressed for a while, but when he saw a young boy dying of blood cancer in the hospital, he realized that there were many people less fortunate than him. The young man regained his optimism. He continued to date Jane and they quickly became engaged. For Hawking, this is the biggest motivation to keep living.
A brilliant mind in a disabled body.
Ever since he was a student at the University of Cambridge, this little student has been fascinated by black holes. Using Einstein's equations of relativity, he proved mathematically that black hole is a region of space-time where gravity is so strong that nothing, including light or other electromagnetic waves, has enough energy to escape its event horizon. Overcoming physical pain due to illness, Hawking still completed his doctoral thesis on cosmology that he had pursued. Despite his disability, the most prestigious university in the UK, Cambridge, appointed him as the Lucasian Professor from 1979 to 2009, one of the most important professorships in mathematics and physics at Cambridge, a position previously held by the famous scholar Newton. Hawking's only means of communication was a speech synthesizer designed specifically for him by a friend that worked by tapping letters on a computer attached to his wheelchair. For him, this very simple move also became extremely difficult. In that motionless position, Hawking's brain with intense creative energy constantly adventured through galaxies millions and billions of light years away, and then brought the world great discoveries. Stephen Hawking has achieved many prestigious awards in his career. In 1978, he was awarded the Albert Einstein Award by the American Physical Society. In 1982, he was knighted by the British Empire. He also received the Franklin Medal of the Franklin Institute in 2002. In 2006, he was awarded the Copley Medal by the Royal Society of London. He was honored with the Presidential Medal of Freedom by the United States in 2009. During his scientific career, Hawking went beyond the theory of general relativity from the Big Bang theory and became a superstar in the sky of science. He is considered one of the greatest physicists today since Einstein's death, and the name Stephen Hawking has become synonymous with black holes. All of his works are regarded as the key to unlocking the universe. In addition to his research activities, Hawking also wrote the book, A Brief History of Time, in 1988, which is one of the world's best-selling books with a total of over 10 million copies printed, including translations into over 40 languages, making it one of the best-selling works in the world, second only to the Bible and some plays by Shakespeare.
Marriage is a path to happiness, but it is also full of thorns.
Stephen Hawking's talent may not have flourished as much without the role of his wife, Jane Wilde, a linguistics graduate who understood the dangers of his debilitating disease and the possibility of sudden death. Despite his deteriorating health, Jane decided to marry him, bringing him hope and determination to continue his research. When Hawking became completely paralyzed, Jane gave up her volunteer work as a nanny to care for him 24 hours a day in the following years. Stephen Hawking and his wife continued to have a fulfilling family life, raising 3 children together. There were times when their marriage faced challenges, as even a genius physicist has problems like any other person. This was the case when Jane fell in love with Jonathan Hellier Jones, a church musician and a friend of the Hawking family. This man's close attention caused Jane to have moments of weakness. Instead of being angry, Stephen Hawking understood and respected the burdens that his wife faced when carrying what he couldn't share as a father and a husband. Fortunately, in the end, Jane remained loyal to her husband of 20 years and maintained a pure friendship with the musician. There were times when Hawking's illness worsened to the point where doctors suggested Jane disconnect his life support devices to relieve his pain. However, with the fierce love of a wife, Jane Wilde insisted that doctors continue to save her husband's life. As everyone has seen, Stephen Hawking had a long and happy life with his wife and children, with nothing to regret. However, a family challenge arose once again when Stephen Hawking himself developed feelings for a close nurse named Elaine Mason. Things progressed too quickly, causing him to leave his family and wife in 1990 to move in with Mason. By 1995, the two were officially divorced. After 30 years of living together, it is said that those who truly love each other will always find their way back to each other. After a short time, Stephen Hawking realized that he could not love anyone more than Jane Wilde. In 2006, he returned to Jane Wilde and their children, ending his unhappy marriage with Elaine Mason. From then on, Stephen Hawking and Jane Wilde loved each other even more, and he spent the last 12 years of his life in the loving embrace of his devoted wife and grown-up children.
The esteemed physicist has left us.
Early in the morning of March 14, 2018, Professor Stephen Hawking passed away at his home in Cambridge at the age of 76. The physicist's children stated that he had passed away peacefully. Hawking's death was not only a sad news for the scientific community, but also for those interested in physics and cosmology. The effort to overcome his illness was a miracle. According to Hawking, his research work gave him more time to live, which others could not achieve. I have a job and special care. That plays a crucial role. Working in theoretical physics is a stroke of luck for me because it's one of the few fields where disabilities are not a significant disadvantage, Stephen Hawking shared with the New York Times in 2011. Hawking's resilient fight against his debilitating disease, regardless of the explanation, also made him a miraculous example of the fierce vitality of humanity in general.
Thank you for watching the video. If you find it interesting, remember to support the channel by liking, commenting and sharing. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to see the next interesting videos.